as I just stated, because I'm pregnant, I'm still available, but I've been realistic about what the dating world would look like. You know, you meet a guy and be like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. So you know what those follow-up questions are going to be. But as I said, I am a single mother by choice, so there is no baby's father, but I'm out there and I'm always hoping to meet the right one.
I am currently not dating. Right now, I'm just focused on living and, you know, working on me right now. So, if the right person came along, then I would date, but I'm not really looking. If that makes sense.
I have a boyfriend of like a year and some change. Yeah.
Single, not married. I don't have any children. A lot of people are like, wow, you know, so I'm like, yeah, you know, always gave myself a time frame. Because I'm a nurse, I know the dangers of someone having a baby when they're up in age, and I've taken care of people that didn't make it, or the baby didn't make it, and I didn't want to be that person. So I always gave myself a time. Now, you know, people have babies well into their 50s, that's fine, but that was not going to be me. So I said, you know, if I was not married by the time, you know, I was in my mid-30s, it was okay. And plus I used to work in pediatrics, and, you know, children, I'm like a children magnet. I guess they know that I don't have any kids, and they're like, you know, let's be around her. Kids seem to take to me, kids and animals, I guess is just my nature, and, you know, my profession and things of that nature. So I was okay. You know, I've always around someone's child, you know, and I worked with children. So, you know, it was okay if I didn't have any, and, you know, I'd get a dog. So
I am single. Yes, and I have been single for about 9 years.
Oh gosh, yes, I was I ain't gonna say serial dater, but you know, I was actively dating, trying to have an active dating life.
So my last relationship ended in 2010. Since then, I haven't really dated much. I've dated, and, you know, for a couple of months, or, you know, if I see inconsistencies, then I'm like, okay, you know, on to the next. This is not going to work, that kind of a thing. Right now, currently, I'm not dating. I probably haven't dated in about a year and a half, almost 2 years, I would think. It's the last time I've actually dated someone.
It took me a while to actually just start dating people, because, like, I was never the type of person that would be like, oh, he's cute, I'm gonna go talk to him. It was just like, hey, hi, like, do you like Legos? Because I like Legos, like that kind of thing. Or just like hanging out with mutual friends. I was never the kind of person that was gonna go up and be like, hey, I think you're cute, you wanna go on a date? Because I was just this awkward little geeky child that was gonna stay in my lane.
Well, we have to define dating. Dating, I hate to say Charlotte, but because I live here, dating is probably like a lot of women. It's just horrible. So when you say dating, I was out putting myself in places, or putting myself out to meet people, but I probably wasn't having a lot of dates. It's just hard to meet someone who truly wants to ask you out and go on a date. So I would sometimes say the dating world in Charlotte is a little non-existent, and that seems to be a consistent theme for us Black women in Charlotte.
Bluntly, it sucks this day and age. I would say for me, I think it's different because I've never been the type to constantly be dating and constantly be looking for a relationship. So I think, you know, when I was younger, I was very busy with college and all of that. So there wasn't a lot of time to sit and focus on who am I going to meet? Who am I going to be with? It just wasn't something that was constantly in the back of my mind. It was, okay, I can go have fun with this guy, or, you know, whatever. But the contemplation of the seriousness wasn't there. And it wasn't a focus of mine. And so, you know, when you get to a point in life where it is, especially at this age and this day and age, it's hard. It's not something I find fun.
The last time I dated, it's been about a year and a half.
With the whole thing with Tinder for me was just scary. Dating in general is just scary. I don't like people. I just decided to try it because we moved from an area where I knew everyone to an area where I knew no one. So I was like, I need to make friends. That was my thing, was like, let's make friends. So I was just looking for friends, which that's how it started, but I kind of liked him, so.
Oh my God, what haven't I tried? I've did speed dating. I've did online dating. I've dated several guys online. Like I said, I go to the sports bars. We try, you know, I try not to go out with a whole bunch of girls because I know that can be intimidating to guys. I love sports, so I do go and watch the football games, and I like tennis, so I play sports. I'm doing everything. I don't feel like I've put myself out there in all the arenas, and I've tried, you know, all the dating. I've opened up my surroundings. I'm an equal opportunity dater. I don't, you know, it could be black, white, Chinese, whatever. So I'm just open to any way of just meeting the right person.
I have tried online dating and I've tried speed dating. That was interesting. Very interesting.
So I am a night owl. I'm a music person, so I'm the party girl. But, you know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. So, you know, a lot of people look at me again like, what do you do? I'm like, I live. You know, I'm on this natural high. So I'm like, well, why do you need a substance to make you feel good? I'm here just like you are. I'm having a good time just like you are. So, you know, I go out. And I, you know, go out to, you know, I have a lot of DJ friends, you know, involved in some parties, you know, different genres of music. And so I'm always there. So I'm always, I've met guys there. I have tried online dating. And that's, you know, I don't know, it's something about hiding behind that computer where they try to be someone that they're not. I'm like, really, even with the photos, you know. And, you know, you see me, this is me. This is, hey, this is what you see is what you get. If you like it or you don't. If you don't, hey, that's it. Just move on to the next, you know. So, but online dating, I just gave up on that years ago. I'm just like, I'm not doing that again. And, you know, people say, oh, you meet someone in church. Oh, you know, that, no. I just can't, you know, that part, I'm like, there's a whole lot of broken people in church. You know, that's why we're there. You know, everybody's broken. So I don't want to meet a man in church. No. Yeah, he's trying to get his life together. And so I'm like, that's not for me. You know, I haven't done the grocery store thing. You know, nowadays is, you know, all these online things, you pick it up. In fact, I have to do that a little bit later on to save time. So that doesn't exist. I don't know, you know, and me being it again in my profession, I, you know, used to be in the field going into a lot of doctors' offices. So, you know, met a lot of physicians and physician's assistants and, you know, other medical professionals. That didn't pan out to be anything, you know, of course, because there's, you know, some that just aren't faithful to their relationship and yet they see you and I'm like, really, Dr. So-and-so, really? You know, that's sort of a thing. But so I don't know, I don't even know where I would go to try to meet someone because I don't like singles events here. Because it's kind of like a show and tell. It's kind of like it's just not real to me, you know, and it's sort of like a meat market type of thing. And, you know, I have not been to a singles event that is suitable for me, you know. So I don't even know where to go to meet the professionals, because they have events that they're called deemed professional networking. They're not. So yeah, the ones that I've been to, and it didn't pan out to be anything, because there are people that will go there that are not single, and so it's like, why would you come to a singles event and you're not single? So I'm like, you know what, forget that part too. So I don't even know where to go to meet. I don't know.
Since I've moved here, no, it's been strictly online since I moved here. And to be honest, before I moved here, I was in a very lengthy relationship. And I met that individual through his mother, who was my coworker at the time. So, and prior to that, it was bars, clubs, things like that. So I guess, yeah, no, I will say and be transparent that I could probably try harder than I am. But I think there's just that aspect of, I feel like it's very repetitive and I'm let down a lot, that it makes you not want to try harder. You have to have a strong skin, man, to date in this day and age, for sure. And to be really driven to find that. And I think I don't need the relationship. I want one, but it's not a need I have.
I won't say that I've really tried interracial per se. I'm not opposed to it. I have just found that all of the just white men that I've met previously are like instantly attracted to my boobs and want to have sex like right away. Like that seems like where the conversation goes immediately. And so even with like online dating, like I left Charlotte and I'm working in Houston currently. And I was bored. My aunt went out of town and I was bored, and I decided I'm gonna just log on to Tinder and just see what's in Houston. So I matched with this guy, he's a white guy, and this was one morning and he's like, oh, I'm staying in this area and I'm free this morning. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So what'd you have in mind? Oh, well, I'm into pleasing. And he so it's like, yeah. So then I deleted it. I deleted the whole app, just shut it down. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Yes, but will I do it now? No. And well, let me say, the only way I would do it now is if I know that that person is going to be moving to the location that I'm at, because Charlotte is my home. I know most people say, are you willing to move? Right now, it'll take a hell of a lot to get me to move, because this is where my life is. This is where my friendships are. This is where I'm 2 hours from my hometown. It's just, I just don't have it in my heart to want to move. And to date someone long distance, we have to have a conversation. If we're distance now, but are you willing to move to Charlotte? Is that in your plan? Because if it's not, then I don't want a long distance. I want somebody that I can go to their house. They can come to my home. We can do dinners. I waited too long to just to be doing this phone thing. I don't want to do it.
Thought, and that's it. And the thought, and I just thought about it, and then I'm the type of person that I would like for the man to be here local, I don't, because if I want to see you, I want to see you. If I'm involved with a man or dating a man and I say, hey, what are you doing? Let's go out for so-and-so, or, come on over and watch, so-and-so. I don't want to be in a long distance relationship where the distance is a problem because you can't do that on a whim, or everything has to be scheduled. Or let me see what the flights are looking like, or, no, I want him to be here. So I wouldn't. International, no, I like American men. I mean, they can be of other nationalities, just here in America. Yeah.
Oh, I've done it in the past. Yes, I've done it a few times. It's been fun because I've flown to see guys and they would fly me. I did all of that, and it's like now that's just not what I want. And then especially now with me having a child, I won't even have that flexibility like I used to have.
Not tried. I mean, I personally wouldn't have an issue with it. I have considered it in terms of with relocating. Obviously there are, people that I still keep in contact with back home, or they may be in Chicago or Ohio or whatever. And I personally wouldn't have an issue with it. Not at all, because I don't, I enjoy my independence. And so if I was with someone where I felt suffocated, I would run very far the other way. So I feel like a long distance relationship for me could work in the sense of, being able to see each other 3/4 of the month or something like that, and the other quarter being independent and alone or whatever. I don't know. I think like for me, if I could find a good mate to do that with and have a good balance and open communication and be transparent about stuff, it could definitely work, and it'd be something I'm open to. But I think that brings in different complexities in a relationship that people need to be aware of, both mates in the relationship and work to keep it strong. So I've never tried it, to say that, but it's definitely something I'm open to. I mean, yeah.
The numbers are not in our favor. I mean, and I think that's just the world we live in. For the caliber of men that I know I'm looking for, I have 10 other girlfriends who are looking for that same type of guy. So we're all sitting in a room looking at each other. You have that out of 10, there's that one guy, and we're all vying for that same one guy. And all you have to do is go out to any nice restaurant. You're going to see a bunch of women. You go out to the sports bar even to watch a game. Now you're seeing a bunch of women. We put ourselves out there, but you're not seeing those type of guys that are out there for us to meet.
That's the $1 million question. I have to sit and think, well, why am I single? People will ask me, when they see me, some people will automatically assume that I'm married or in a relationship. And then when I tell them not, I'm like, no, I am not crazy. I'm perfectly sane, number one. So don't think that. They think that something's wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. I just believe that I'm single because I just refuse to settle. Some people say, well, it's better to have a piece of man than no man at all. Beg to differ. I don't even beg, I just differ. I was like, no, I'm not going to settle. What I bring to the table, I want someone to bring something to the table also. I don't want to be the one that has the upper hand, so to speak. I don't want to be the one that's, I don't want to say superior, because that sounds, odd. I'm a female, so, I'm not superior in a relationship. I'm an equal, but I know relationships aren't always 50-50, but I don't want to always be the stronger one. Stronger one in the relationship, the stronger one mentally and financially. Physically, I'm not the stronger one, but I want to be able to sit back and be a woman, and let the man take the lead, let the man, take care of me. Now, do I need someone to take care of me? Absolutely not. I've existed all these years taking care of myself. My mom, have come from a strong background, so I don't seek someone to take care of me. But it would be just nice to know that if, God forbid, something would happen where I could not produce my income in my profession, that my man has me, and, to meet someone and to, talk to them and get to see where they're at mentally and financially, I was like, well, okay, they're not for me. So therefore, I'm single. And until that person, until that man comes along, people say, well, wait on the Lord, God will provide. And I believe in that, and, send you your Boaz and, and all of that stuff, but I say that I don't know, I've been single so long till I'm getting used to, and that's a bad thing to say. I don't want to be single. I really don't, but it is what it is. So, life goes on. What can I say? So that's why I think I'm single, because I just won't settle. I refuse to settle. I want what I want. I'm an only child. So, I'm spoiled. Not really. I'm not spoiled. I just wanted to say that because my mother, I remember my mother saying, just because you're the only one does not mean that you're going to get everything that you want. And so there were plenty of things that I wanted, and she would tell me no. She could get it for me, but she, wanted me to grow up and know, that, okay, don't expect to get everything you want. You work hard for it, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. So yeah. So that's that. Mm-hmm.
No, I think there's lots of reasons, but I will say, like, I need to put forth effort. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think it's just gonna happen. It's the same as a happy marriage or a healthy marriage or relationship. It's work. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I can't expect, like, oh, it's gonna happen if I snap my fingers, or, I suppose I could pay a bunch of money for a matchmaker, but at the end of the day, that's still work that, needs to be put in. And yeah, I definitely need to work at it more than I have been. And pick myself up every time something doesn't work out and keep it moving. But that kind of took me a bit to understand too, so.
I feel that I am still single just because I haven't found someone that I liked that was willing to put in that effort. If I wanted to have just anybody, I could have somebody, but it wouldn't be what I want.
Someone that makes me laugh and doesn't stress me out. Honestly, it's like pretty simple. Just don't be okay, I will say the one thing is the ability to have to play on my intellect level. That's important to me, to be able to have like broad conversations and actually learn from each other. Like, for example, and not, an individual that I was with for a long time would be what a lot of people or society would refer to as a thug, or, whatever. Sorry. But was one of the smartest people I know. Thanks. So I think humor and intellect.
At my age, I have to tell people, you have to remember, I'm in my 40s, so I've had the fun in the 20s, had some relationships in my 30s, and now I kind of know what I truly want. So I'm looking for somebody who wants to be in a relationship. That's number one, because it takes two. And I'm just looking for honesty. I'm looking for sincerity. Of course, I want attraction. That's very important to me. But just somebody who wants to be in a committed relationship. Overplaying the games and just, I like you, you like me. Let's figure out if this is what we want together. To me, it's just simple.
Consistency. Someone that is reliable. Someone that is truthful. I'm a very upfront person. I always say, lay your cards out on the table. we're adults here. We're not only grown, we're real grown. We're of a certain age. So just lay your cards out on the table. Let me know what it is that's going on, and let me tell the truth about it so that I will be able to make the decision as to whether or not I want to deal with you. Don't try to mask something when I'm asking you to tell me the truth. And you mask it, and then you want to be deceptive, and then a little bit later on it comes out. I have no respect for you. I have all the respect for a man that tells me the truth. Now, the truth sometimes hurts, sometimes you don't want to hear it, but guess what? At the end of the day, I can say, you told me the truth. I respect you for that. You know, I might say it's not going to work for me in this relationship, but guess what? I respect you. You know, and, you know, therefore we can part ways and be respectful and, you know, see one another. Hey, how you doing? How's family? How's things going for you? Instead of, you know, being angry, you know, or bitter about things. So, yeah.
The swag, just how he carries himself. I guess like a confidence. Someone that's driven, determined, hard worker. Willing to build something, and not just complacent or comfortable with where they, well, I mean, depends on where they are, but willing to build something with someone, you know.
Wow. What does love mean to me? Love is patient. Love is unconditional. Love is very much unconditional. Love is I didn't think that this would be such a hard question, but it is. Love is faithfulness. That's love. Love means that you will never hurt me. But isn't it definitely intentional or unintentional? You would never hurt me. Love does not hurt. Contrary to popular belief, people say that love hurts. No, it doesn't. I disagree with that. Love should never hurt. Or, where they say, I didn't mean to do that. Well, if you didn't mean to do it, then you would not have done it. So love is painless, not painful. That's what love means to me. Love means hanging in there, never giving up, being steady. I could go on, but yeah, love is you're really giving of yourself. Yeah, that's what love is to me.
Man. I think it varies. I think there are different levels. I think there are different the way that I love my grandma is not the same way I love my dad or my mom. I think it's unique to the person and to the relationship. And I don't necessarily think there's a definition. I think it's something innate in a relationship that comes out of the building of that relationship. Like, for example, just because a mom has a child doesn't mean that that child is inherently going to love her. The child, if she chooses to keep it, will seek her because of basic needs, right? Food and all of that. But the love comes from the bond that you nurture and build in the environment. So I think it's grown. I don't think love is something that just happens. I think it's not static, it's fluid, But yeah, I would say, unfortunately, I can't define it. But that's how I would talk about it.
That's a loaded question. That's like one of those philosophical questions I had in college. It just depends on when you say love. Is it love of being with someone, or just like, I think about my dad as, I lost my dad. That was a love that, we as a parent that you love. That's a totally different love than when I was in love with my ex. I always think we probably always hear the word unconditional. Someone who loves my, the good and the bad parts of me. Just someone who's going to be there, somebody who's caring. It's just a big loaded word. Those are the things when I see love, that's what I see when I think about me giving it and what somebody is giving to me. Just somebody who's just going to always be there for me unconditionally and just loving me through and through the ups and the downs, sickness and in health, all of those things. That's kind of what I envision it. And I look at my stepmom and my dad and what they had, and it's amazing when he was here. I looked at their relationship and I laughed at it, but in a good way. Like, y'all are just so corny, people. But now I was like, wow, what would it look like to have someone who cares about if I walk through that door, and how I'm doing if I'm not in their sight, just caring enough about me. And you're not gonna make me cry. No.
I think the best vision of love that I've ever seen was in Twilight. That's a little super fairy tale-ish, but like the depths that they went through to like be together, like he almost died. I feel like that is very powerful. When you feel like you love someone enough that you would die for them, I think that's what love looks like to me.
Love to me is love is deep. Love to me is, I've learned through having children how to give unconditional love. And sometimes I think it's unfortunate that I have been blessed with the gift of being able to give unconditional love, because when you love hard, you know, it leaves you vulnerable to be hurt a lot. So, love to me is accepting a person's flaws and loving them where they are. And, look. I don't know. I think that's it.
Have you ever been in love?
Oh, yes. I've been in love. I definitely have been in love. My last relationship is, you know, that was the one bad relationship that I've had. Everybody's allowed one. Some people have multiple. They keep repeating the cycle. But it didn't start out that way, but it ended up that way. But I was really in love with him. Really in love with him. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely have been in love.
I have been in love. I don't fall in love easily. But when I fall in love, I fall hard. So, and once I love forever. You know, even though I may love like an ex, it doesn't mean I want to be with them, but I still like have love. So it's that's a little, it's hard to take. Sometimes I wish I didn't have that.
Yes, because I love my ex, but I'm not in love with him. I love him as a person. I was there when his mom died. He went through my dad's death. So we're, you know, we did try to get pregnant. We had some miscarriages together. So I'm always going to have a love because he was there in the most hardest times of my life. So I'm going to always love him, but I'm not in love with him, no. So yeah, you can have love for someone and not be in love with them.
I have always, you know, even from like a teenager, like been a lover. Like I love. So I've always wanted that 20, 30, 40, 50 year love. But that has not happened. And I think that the part in it that I've played is in my selections, and that I have not seen myself and really allowed myself to demand what I deserve. And in not doing so, I've cost myself a lot of pain. And because I mean, I believe there are usually, not always, red flags that we don't adhere to or heed to. And I know for myself, you know, once I love you, I forgive. I forgive easily. And I'm not one that stays mad. I'm more of a person that's like, okay, let's talk about what happened. You know, this is what happened. And if they apologize and I feel it's sincere, I'm fine and I can move on and let it go. But I think that some people, some men, see that as a weakness and think that I won't leave or that they have me, and continue to play games after that. And it takes me a while because of how hard I do love, but ultimately I do end up walking away.
After a certain age, you would think that men would, as they say, what is the saying goes, when I was you know, when I became a man, I put away childish things. And it's quite surprising that there are men in their 40s and 50s and they're still playing games at that age. The ratio we all know the ratio of men to women. We all know that. So just because for every, I don't know, one man can have, there's 10 women for every one man or whatever the ratio is, does not mean you have to act upon that. And there are still men that, you know, still play the phone game, I forgot, I was asleep, you know, still those things. And, you know, I have to ask myself, you know, I ask them, how old are you again? How old did you say you were again? You know, I'll ask that question because it's like, I'm not expecting this from you. You know, when you first meet the guy, you know, everybody wants to put on their best. And then things start happening and coming out and things like that. So you know, I just said, you know, I just don't want to be bothered with that because life is hard enough. You know, just trying to make it. You know, you're doing your job. Your job is stressful. My profession is very stressful. So when it comes to me being in a relationship with a man, you know, I want you to be that buffer. You know, I want him to, you know, to say, okay, you had a hard day. Or if I say you had a hard day to him, well, I want to be his buffer. And I don't want me to constantly having to be the buffer. And he's, you know, and he's not reciprocating it. So, you know, once I meet men or meet a guy and start to know him and those inconsistencies pop up, it makes me just kind of fall back. And so I'm at the point where I've fallen back. I won't say that I've given up, but yeah, I'm not dating. I meet a lot, you know, of men, and I don't know, I was just say I'm not, you know, going to be the aggressive one. You know, I'm going to allow him to say, okay, I'm interested, and, you know, confront me. Now, some have, but again, if they're not right, then, you know, I'll just, you know, we'll shake hands and be friends. Hi, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, see you again. So that's why I'm not dating. Yeah, it's just, I haven't run into, you know, that man, you know, that says, oh, okay, yeah, he's interesting. Let me find out about him.
Well, I want a black man. There's something about black men that I love. Like, but it just, the ones that I have come across just have not been right.
Are we thinking physical? Probably if I'm in a bar somewhere and I'm just scouting the room. I like dark-skinned guys, so that'll probably be the first thing. I'm like, oh, that's a nice chocolate brother. But I will date others. But, you know, my eyes will go to a brother first. It's just what it is. I have an attraction for a black man. So dark complexion, and probably for me, I like a guy who's in shape. I mean, I'm not saying you got to have a six-pack, but I like a guy who I can look at and be like, oh, he do something. He work out, play basketball, do something. I like someone who's probably more, I can tell, physically active. That's the first thing appealing that's going to catch my eye. But then if they sat down beside me, I just like a regular conversation. I'm very into organic meeting. You know, like I said, don't be pretentious. Don't try to sell myself. Whatever happened to, hey, how are you doing? You know, my name is, you know, just the old fashioned, just somebody who I don't feel like is coming up to me with an agenda. Because once I feel like you have an agenda, then that kind of puts me on the kind of the defense, or I sit back and I watch like, okay, you know, what's your angle? And to me, that's been the hardest to find, just a plain conversation, not feeling like anybody has an agenda. They're just sitting down talking to you. And then you, as a woman, we can figure out if they're attracted to us. And then we do the women things. You know, we bat our eyes and all that good stuff. And then, you know, you do that and let them know that, you know, hey, I think you're attractive too. And then you just go from there. The good old days. They're gone now.
Hair, yeah. The way a man's hair tells a lot about them. It tells you like if they take care of their hygiene, and like the way they smell. That is important to me, because if you're around someone who smells stinky all day, like it's not gonna be good. So those are the first things that I notice, are the hair, if it's groomed, or if they like shave, if they've got a big old beard, you know. Especially like on a first date, because that tells me how they wanted to present themselves to me.
I find that a lot of men, either they just want something easy, or they just want sex. I have not found someone who really wanted to build something more than just sex and, you know, the here and now, like, so.
I feel like the more time you spend with people, I feel like I'm at an age now, I know the right questions to ask. I know sometimes I can be a little upfront because I don't like doing all the chasers. I'm like, let's get straight to, you know, I mean, that doesn't mean if we're going to get married, because unfortunately at this point in my life, marriage is not at the top of my list. I would love to be married, but I don't lead with that like I probably did in my 20s and 30s. Now I'm more like a companion. So I want to ask those questions, you know, what are you looking for? You know, to me, most men aren't going to be truthful. So, but you ask, because I always tell you, I'm going to give you the opportunity to lie. So, or be honest. So you spend time, you have those conversations, and that's a hard thing about dating, because everybody want to do this texting thing. You meet them online, everybody just want to text. I'm not into that. I feel like if you want to truly get to know me, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to have a conversation, you're going to ask me out, you're just going to do those things. I think that, I hate to say now I'm dating, you know, I feel like I'm getting older, that we did 10, 15 years ago. Do you want to go out? You know, so that's when I know if someone is really serious in me, or into me.
Personally, for me, if this is the first time you're meeting me and you don't want to make an impression, then like you're telling me that I'm not important enough. So if, like, I want someone who's going to put just as much effort that I'm going to put in. I'm going to try to look my best. I'm not going to say, oh, I need to put on a bunch of makeup and do my hair up super crazy, but like at least I took a shower, you know. I brushed my teeth, you know.
Well, they don't want to do anything. It's like, you know, you meet somebody and they're like, so for instance, I met someone online, and I was, you know, we were having a text conversation, and I said that I was about to get something to eat, and he told me that he could get me, you know, he's like, I can feed you. So I was like, well, what are you gonna feed me? And he's like, pork chops and gravy, green beans and cornbread. It's food that he cooked that day. So I'm supposed to come to your house? Oh yeah, you can come over and watch the game with me. Yeah, no. Not like for a first date. Like, I've never met you before, and yeah, no.
That I just like what you said. That's fine. Hey, how are you doing? I think you look really nice. Can I buy you a drink? You didn't got half. You in the door. You got your foot in the door there. But when you got to come over and you just know those guys who are just trying to sell you something, and it's like that shuts me down all the way because I feel like you're trying to get something from me. And that's, believe it or not, that's more common than not.
You know, and that's something I personally struggle with. Having divorced parents and not necessarily having a model to identify like how to maneuver through relationships with. So to me, communication, open communication, and support, reciprocal support.
That relationship with my dad, because he didn't get married till he was older. I think I was probably about 35, 34 when my dad got married, and I was actually lucky enough to be there when he married. And my dad, this big, strong man, you know, he dated women over the years, but when he got with my stepmom, I just saw that change in him. And it's just amazing. I could be talking to my dad and don't let his wife call my stepmom, and he's like, I got to go, baby. My wife calling me. I'm like, you just talked to her 5 minutes ago. They talked on the phone 5 or 6 times a day. I mean, even when he talked to me, his concern for her, like he was like, I just had to put some money in her account. I ain't even gonna tell her because I know she ain't gonna ask me for nothing. Just seeing how he was always concerned about how she was doing. And after he died, just hearing my stepmom said, just to hear her just talk about, like, she didn't want for much, but I remember she wanted this fireplace, and my dad was, I ain't getting that fireplace. 2 days later, what was in that house? That fireplace. I'm like, you talked all that too, but my wife, I got to make sure she happy. And this is probably one of those black moments. I was at my dad's house, and we was sitting around in the room watching TV, and my dad was sitting on the couch. My stepmom went and got the rat tail comb and some grease. She sat down in between my daddy's legs, and he parted her hair and greased it. I was like, oh no. Right there, my daddy, this is like my daddy. And I'm looking like, why are we doing it? Y'all gonna do this in front of me? And she was like, my husband, don't be jealous. And it's just those things that you just do. And I just saw that, and I'm like, God, that's what I want. Because my part grease my hair.
Well, I always tell this story. My mother was the oldest child, and she had 4 brothers. So I always say that I learned a lot about men from my 4 uncles. With all those different personalities, 4 different personalities. I had the Papa Rolling Stone uncle. He just had so many women. It was like ridiculous. And may he rest in peace. But, then I have, the uncle who, has a profession. He's retired. All my uncles are retired now. But, I'm since my mother is the oldest child, I'm the first grandchild. So, then I was a little girl at that point. So my uncles are like, oh, this cute little girl. My mother always kept me up so cute as this little chubby girl. And so they took me everywhere. So they, when I would be with certain uncles, the ones that were not faithful, they're like, okay, now remember, this is her name. I get the little conference, with a pep talk or whatever, a little briefing. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I was like, okay, now this one is that one. Okay, now I have to remember this. So as I got older, I remembered how that particular uncle operated. So when it came time for me to date and know men, I was like, okay, which uncle is this? Which uncle is he? And it was true. I'm like, this is like my uncle. I don't want to say his name, but I'm like, this is my uncle, this one, or this is my uncle, that one. And I was like, wow, this is like so amazing to see the characteristics in the men that, you know, I was starting to date that was similar to my uncle. So the family, if they really influenced me, you know.